Hey, all, this is Derek from the Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast. To see more videos like what you're about to see, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, help support this independent podcast. Anthony Richardson, he's heading to Indianapolis. We've touched on it a little bit earlier, but I do think that he landed in probably one of the best landing spot situations for a quarterback, young quarterback there with the coaching staff that's around him, right? That's been kind of the common theme that we've seen the difference between success from some of these young quarterbacks and the busting side of some of these young quarterbacks is who's around to develop them. Shane Steichen, the head coach, has a track record of developing young quarterbacks, did it with Herbert his rookie year, did it with Jalen Hurts this last year, and I see that trend continuing. So I like the landing spot here for Anthony Richardson, and for fantasy purposes, absolutely. I think he's going to put up the most fantasy points for quarterbacks this year. His legs alone will get that done, and he provides that dual threat cheat code type of thing. Hendon Hooker, another guy that I got here as well. Hendon Hooker was a guy that I really liked the landing spot going to Detroit. It's a situation he comes in from, coming in injured, has the torn ACL. A lot of folks were thinking that he could have been a first round pick had he not had that ACL injury. Goes to Detroit, has the situation where, again, a good coaching staff, good kind of environment bringing him into, and he can, probably compete with Jared Goff down the road for the starting position in probably another year or two. But Jared Goff easily that bridge quarterback to let Hendon Hooker get adjusted to the league and get fully healed up before he is ready to rock and roll, and before Detroit likely moves on from Goff due to salary cap type of hits there. That leads us into Zach Charbonnet. Seattle, I'm not a big fan of this landing spot for fantasy purposes. I thought this was one of those that he could have gone to a much better situation. It's one of those that it kind of muddies the water there a little bit in Seattle, who tend to like to run the ball a lot. So he'll see work, but upside is limited. Obviously, they took Kenneth Walker III last year, and again, they take another highly talented back here that actually caps the ceiling a little bit for Ken Walker and for Zach Charbonnet here. Roschon Johnson going to Chicago. Really like the landing spot here. Chicago loves to run the ball. They love to play that ground and pound game. We've seen that constantly out there. Roschon Johnson going into that, I think, was a little bit of an underrated back, simply from the standpoint of the other Johnson that he shared a backfield with down there at Texas, that being Bijan. And Roschon Johnson's a guy that I think will come in and can compete for some touches. Khalil Herbert, obviously, kind of the clear favorite in that backfield there for the starting job. But I think that we could see Roschon potentially challenge that a little bit here as the season rolls along. Chase Brown to Cincinnati. This was a really interesting one. Cincinnati has needed running back. They let Samaje Perine leave during the offseason and through free agency. Joe Mixon has been rumored to be a cap casualty type of thing for several different points throughout this season. Plus, Joe Mixon also having some potential legal issues there. Chase Brown could be a sneaky play, especially if you're taking him as like a fourth round rookie draft pick here, or a late round fantasy draft pick. So worth a stash at that point. Deuce Vaughn, quick, shifty guy going to Dallas, dynamic playmaker who, is fairly undersized out there, but that hasn't seemed to stop him to this point here. And so going to Dallas, like the situation, we could probably see him challenge Ronald Jones, Malik Davis for, some the roster depth chart there, to the point where we probably see him slot in behind Tony Pollard when it's all said and done. If Dallas doesn't do something crazy and bring another running back in here, we haven't seen them rule out the possibility of not bringing back Zeke on a restructured deal here. This is one of those that it's a proceed with caution for Deuce Vaughn and how this thing ultimately plays out. So for Dynasty, maybe worth a third round dart throw, fourth round. I'm certainly throwing a dart there. Jordan Addison, Minnesota, love this landing spot, slots in right next to Jefferson, and Jefferson will certainly get the looks on this. Jordan Addison's not going to be the target monster there. It'll be very good for him, I think. Marvin Mims, love the landing spot to Denver. This kind of seems like a Sean Payton type of wide receiver here. Denver trading up to go get this guy, and Yeah, Denver's got a murky wide receiver room where there's going to have to be some things clearing up. Marvin Mims, I don't think we'll see success this year, but long term, I think we will see him be a good wide receiver down in Denver, as well as ultimately doing some good things there. Kind of gobbling up where I can get him in the middle of the second in rookie drafts right now. Jaden Reed, a guy that we didn't necessarily see going this high to Green Bay, but Green Bay investing in wide receivers coming in for Jordan Love there. This is a guy that probably slots in third, can work his way into third on the depth chart. So could be interesting there, but not necessarily really investing much in the way of fantasy rookie capital there. And Sam Laporta going to Detroit, this is one here that I could kind of take it or leave it. Kind of fits into what Detroit likes to do here. But again, right, rookie tight ends typically take a little bit of time to develop here. And so I'm not necessarily spending much in the way of capital, maybe about a fourth round type of pick in rookie drafts on Sam Laporta.